in a move to cut cost of governance at the center, President Bola Tinubu has actually directed that all official entourage to state and international event be drastically slashed by 60%. He has also directed that for every local trip of government, security details will henceforth be drafted from the host state. The president actually stated this yesterday through his spokesperson Ajurin Gelali while briefing newsmen in Abuja. He explained that by the new directive, the president will now travel with only 20 officials, unlike before when the number was over 50 people. The vice president will now travel with 5 officials. The first lady and the wife of the vice president also have 5 accompanying officials respectively. For local trips, the number of the entourage of the president has been reduced to 25. The vice president 15, the first lady and the wife of the vice president 10 each. Well, that is the position as regards to that. According to him, the president said ministers' delegation for foreign trips will be a maximum of 4 officials, while the heads of the ministries, departments and agencies of government will travel with maximum of 2 officials. All these things are aimed towards making sure that the cost of governance is reduced to the barest minimum. Well, that's the focus of today's edition of the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. My name is Ginika Oloha. We'll look at all that, that particular directive, and we also look at how the state government can actually see if they can key into what the federal government has planned to do and reduce cost of governance, especially in the state. Welcome once again. We'll take a breather now to bring you the political update. When we come back, you meet my guests and the show continues. Stay with us. Thank you so much, Wisdom, for that update. Welcome back to the program. It's still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. Like I told you before we went on that break, we'll be looking at the directive made by the President Bola Tinubu, directing that the cost of governance, especially for those personnel that will make his entourage, should be cut by 60%. We'll look at all that and see how effective that will be. I think maybe we've had something like that in the past, but as they achieved in terms of reducing cost of governance, we'll find out as we continue with the program. Now, joining me virtually to talk about that is the former secretary to the state government here in Abia State and the public affairs analyst, Chief Raf Ebu. He joins me virtually this morning. Good morning, Chief. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and Happy New Year to you.
Yes, what can I say? A big Happy New Year to all of you there in Flow FM and then our listeners. This year will be good for all of us. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you. Welcome. Now, this particular story dropped yesterday, and everybody will be like, what is happening? Could it be that the current administration of President Bola Tinubu has realized eventually the need to reduce cost of governance? He has actually directed that 60% of those that actually make trips with him should be reduced by 60%, And it calls even the vice president, the first lady and the wife of the vice president, even the ministers as well. Now, with this development, Chief, do you think the idea of government to reduce cost of governance will be achieved?
Well, first and foremost, let's start from the point of optimism to say, recommend him for once again realizing the need to begin some measures in regard to cost of running government in our country. The need to cut costs has become more urgent given where we are in terms of finances. The truth is, we remain a mono-economy country. We rely on oil, and we can see the fate of oil in the international market. Today is up. Another 2 weeks is all down. It has affected capital flow and will continue to do, because we take raw materials like we have been doing, send abroad, and then rely on the goodwill of developed nations to tell us what to gain. So within this prison that I've just put, I can say, well, commendation to the president. It will seem that at last the realities of the ground is beginning to ignite the sensible part of all of us, and that is what I've just seen. I'm trying to be conservative, but if you to allow me wear my progressive toga, I will say that what has just been announced by the Chief Press Secretary as the decision of the President in terms of reducing the number of aides that will travel both within the country and outside the country ought to come as a well thought out policy direction.
Okay.
I hate ad hoc reactions, and I hate tokenism. Tokenism will make you lose substance and play on the periphery of what you think should be right sound bites and right actions. You just play on the periphery and then want what I call superficial applause and clapping, and that is what we are doing. And that has initiated even your reactions this morning. But that's why this shouldn't gladden anybody's heart. It should have come as a holistic affair, because when you talk about cutting cost of governance anywhere, it is a fundamental issue. It's an issue that is in the heart of any society and then any entity as nation state. When you say in a country, it envisages the gamut of our expenditure, in what direction and how meaningful. How much do we have? Where do you put it? Is it reproductive, positively reproductive in terms of welfare of the people? So when we want to sit down, like talking about cost of governance, we sit down, think it through, apply rigor, and then come out as a policy position, because it will affect all gamut, not just the presidency, the president, the vice president, the two wives of that is president and vice presidential wife, a bit of the ministers. It's fundamentally much more than that.
Is that why you said it's somehow ad hoc?
Yes, this is what I'm saying is ad hoc. I will reduce my those who travel with me abroad by 60%. You see, if it's not ad hoc, we'll sit down and ask. We'll sit down and ask certain questions. First, for a nation, consumer nation like us, our foreign travels very necessary. Then we answer the question. Perhaps we'll say yes. Then we go ahead to delineate what kind of foreign travels. Is he going for ECOWAS meeting? Is he going for EU? Is it interfacing with other nations on what account? Because right now, let me tell you the truth. I am ashamed. We should be ashamed of our president. Sometimes a new president going to attend the dinner. You the of who is organizing it. Are you not ashamed of seeing yourself? Russia is competing. All African head of state should come to Russia for a meeting. All African head of state should come to China for China.
And they are not coming to Africa too. Is that why?
That is why I'm saying this thing looks ad hoc. Those are the kind of. So when you say foreign trip, he just returned from nearly 10 days visit. Was it to Dubai on a seminar organized by a small arm of United Nations? From there, he entered. Was it Turkey? The president of the country that is serious for development, spending nearly 10 days outside. He makes a mockery of all of us. He makes a mockery of the black race.
But Chief,
so that's why I said. That is why I said we ought to sit down and properly look at that concept. You will see that Mandela had the right attitude to classical governance. He hardly moved outside South Africa. And even in Africa, how many of North African countries travel? I don't want to mention Asian tigers. You say they have developed. So that's why I'm saying that we must go beyond ad hoc reactions that we are used to. And then we want to do things, we sit down. There are issues, if you allow me time to say, Because you first of all ask yourself, what is cost of governance? And then you answer. Then you ask yourself on what areas the government spend. It's not just about travels alone, because you see that you need to spend money in terms of what you call recurrent, money you spend on administration, money you spend for economic.
Oh, I think we lost Chief there on the line. Okay, but we'll see if we can get across to him again. It's still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. We are looking at the directive made by the president that those on his entourage the number should reduce. And the other people, even the vice president, the wife of the president, as well as the wife of the vice president. He said everybody should reduce, the people that always travel with them, both locally and internationally. And my guest has been Chief Rafebu. We are talking about that before he went off. But let's see if we can get him back online. Well, it's still the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. We now have Chief Rafebu back on the line. Chief, go ahead. You were actually making a point before the network actually stopped.
Yes, so I think we sit down and look at it. It's something germane and at the heart of development of a poor country like Nigeria. Now, I try to list out areas where do we spend administration. Now, do we need how many ministers? 45 or thereabout, with other special assistants and advisors at the level we have them with all paraphernalia of office? That is the question you ask. I think that the number of officials that should run state affairs appears to be too large for the kind of things we want. But it's because of we have not reduced. As I will go ahead, when I talk the political, we have not done what we should do. So the cost of what you call recurrent, it has remained so high. You remember in our state, one of the things Sochi has done is to increase the capital over the current. We don't know how that will work. But you can see everybody desires that we go that way. And if we must develop, that is it. Now you talk of economic development. You see, saving money is not only about traveling. It is reasonable application of scarce resources. I will give you an instance. It was immeasurable. For instance, we are still hungry. I know what the market indices is telling. Inflation is at about, I don't know, is it 28? Maybe 28%.
Yes.
That is too high. That is too high. Now, when you go to countries that want to develop the areas of saving costs, is to usefully apply scarce resources to agricultural development. Agricultural development. So when you put the little you have there, you don't only produce food that will have corresponding effect on the health of the people. You find that whatever little things you do will stand the test of time. The industrialization base is boosted. Now match it against what is happening. I'm not saying this guy is the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs have eaten money. But you have LEMA and you still have Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs in a poor country. To do what? Is it not scandalous that for consultancy services alone, between about 3 or 4 companies that are not visible, I heard that some of them are hair salons, we have been able to transfer funds for over 500 million naira in a country where people cannot transport themselves very easily. I don't know whether you understand. So, cost of development or infrastructural development. See, today nobody tells you the cost of 1 kilometer of roads. Sometimes we are scandalized. Maybe you don't watch the East African countries, Kenya, for instance, and Ethiopia. If you watch these countries and you see the kind of trends they have, and then you compare with what we are doing in Nigeria, and you look at the cost, for those who monitor, it is scandalous. Then what area again do we spend? You see defense and security. Sometimes I ask ourselves, is our trouble from our stars? Now, why would the military, for instance, military is kept at bay and used for international defense system. But as we are going between here and Umuika, you will find over between here and Umuika Oba Junction, you will find about
military checkpoints.
3 checkpoints. I mean military.
Yes, military.
Now you see the absurdity. You see the absurdity technically speaking, in terms of expenditure. Now, what is the police doing? You have police that should man checkpoints if need be. Even I will even quarrel with the concept of checkpoint, but because I'm not a secure checkpoint anywhere, if you read the Israeli story, if you read the German story, checkpoint Charlie, you will see that it's a suffocating system of security. It will suffocate both the inhabitants and whoever passes through. But leave that. Let's look at the cost. Why should it be manned by military? Because each one that stays there per day, you pay daily allowances. And then we have police in full capacity. That is the role of the police. So those are the things. Now you go to collect loans. You are not a productive nation. It is a natural giving. Forget what Western economists will tell us, that get loans. It will fasten development. Where you are not supposed to be, you will be there. And then you can repay. It is not true. First and foremost, the foundational truth about borrowing is that the borrower will remain a slave to the lender.
Okay.
And in the international interplay, it is so. So now when you borrow loans, you pay higher. You pay higher. Our debt servicing ratio I have had is about 95%. That means nearly the whole money you sell in crude oil. It's also returning back. So that's why I said it has wider implication than tokenism.
Now, yes, when you talk about these foreign trips that these government officials make, and you were asking if they are really necessary and all that, but we've listened to our president. The last time he said he went to attract foreign investors. And when you look at it in the business environment of Nigeria, some companies have actually left the country. So would it be out of place if the president decides on his own to go out to look for those investors, probably those ones that have run away?
I think you raised a very critical issue, and you have answered it. You helped me answer it. Ginika and then some of our listeners, I wouldn't know how old they are. But for those of them who saw independence, you will know that this issue of foreign exchange became a sing song right from the very first day of independence, October 1, in 1960. Every of them were hinging that foreigners will come and so on. It took only the Southeast on that Abraham, very visionary. Michael Obama. I have seen his blueprint. Extremely very visionary in all facets. Agriculture, infrastructure, around industrialization, and the kind of industrialization held, even as much as cabinet, to be made by locals. So what am I asking is, no nation, that is why I say we should sit down and ask for it. No nation has been developed by foreign capital. None. When they mention South Korea and mention this place near where they are fighting between China, what is that place? Fighting between China. Those are artificial creations of the West to stop the war or the advancement of communism. It is not a real factor. When you mention Malaysia, you mention Brazil, you mention other ones that are growing, you mention how China grew, you see that it is the indigenous impetus, it is the indigenous imprint that must come on your economy that will not make the atmosphere attractive. You see, when we move cap in hand going to big countries, I'm a chef, those will laugh at you. Because all it tells them, because they draw their social analysis, all it tells them is that these people are not in control and we can keep exploiting them. Who will come when your security situation, you can't move from here to Onitsha in safety? Can you move money from here to Onitsha? Say you liberalize fuel, you are looking for foreign exchange, you liberalize fuel, you encourage importation, and at the same time, carrying money, say you are going to the creeks and marketplaces and slums to look for the poor of the poor. And now when you give me 15,000 naira in a month, and after the next month you stop, what help have you offered? That's why I say this thing is more fundamental. Do we sit down and look at what we do? Are foreign trips very necessary? Shouldn't we sit down at home, close our economy like China, Japan, Malaysia, Singapore, and tell ourselves the truth, draw a roadmap and begin to explain within ourselves and change the pattern of consumption? And it should be for everybody. It's not only government people that spend money. Even you there, Ginika, if you had chance, I don't know where you spend your leave. You want to go to London. That is capital of life. That is wasted of public funds.
But that's my own personal money, Chief. If I'm earning my own
personal money? You are drawing with personal money. How did you make it? How much tax did you pay compared to the 1.2 or 1.3 million you pay just to land yourself? I mean, going to land yourself in London. How did you make it? What is your salary? How much tax did you pay? Do you know that when you sit in many of those foreign airlines, you are drawing on our scarce foreign exchange, which is also public money? That is what we don't know, and that is the education we need.
Okay, Chief.
How did you make it? How much tax did you pay?
Okay, Chief, we are looking at the best way for government to reduce cost of governance. And you've been in government, at that level. You should know, tell us what area exactly or an aspect of these trips that takes so much money. Is it in accommodation, maybe hotel accommodation, transport or feeding? Where exactly? Probably to help us to have an idea.
Of course, you will talk about logistics. Okay. Vehicles will have to move to the airport, not so, and you have to fuel them. Two, like he has said, some of them, because Nigeria is not what it's supposed to be, the president will move with a private squad, maybe about 200 or 300 to be able to withstand. So if you are going to Kano, you carry your own special squad of about 300 men. That is cost. You transport them by air, not so. Then you pay them out of station allowances, including risk allowances, and all that cadre of protocol officers and the press team. So it's expensive. Not that they won't be there, but it's expensive. In what right number do you go? But I don't think, let me talk fundamentally before you box me into the living substance to speak on minor issues. I have said those are not the place. I would have wished that, like I said, we run lean administration to there has been this talk from the Orasanya Committee of
I was actually coming to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Two, we look at harmonization of MDS.
Yeah.
There are plenty of duplication. The military came with this idea. Once there is a problem of road law, they create another unit with all the massive employment and recurrent intake you should take. Yeah, you look at it. It cuts across nearly every reason. Now, Ministry of Telecommunication that could handle communication issues and so on. Then you create an agency of communication with staff and then paying them differently. So you look at it. Two, apart from the harmonization, you look at the possibility of merging them. Let those who do similar works become a unit in the ministry, and then you reduce all these things that everybody must work for government. Is not ideal. That is the truth. Government has become the largest welfare institution, and it is more so in Nigeria. Everybody wants government job. That is not what it should be. There should be new oriented. 2, 3 should be rearrangement of the political architecture. We have been demanding for that. When you multiply states we are multiplied. States are good, but you see, we did it with a particular mindset. Let's weaken, especially the Igbo secessionist bill. So the way they created it, some people created states for themselves and all that. There's no problem. You will not change that structure, but you can change the administrative management in such a way that a center can rule over, after all, over a large area. Now, during the colonial days, you recall, what we call local government today were district units, administered by just one admin officer. So you don't need to abolish them, but you can think ahead to bring 30 people, and then you say you give them later as special assistance. In which case, a government, especially in the state, could have 13,000 persons virtually doing nothing but earning something. That is a bad way to administer a state. It's a pathway to ruination, pathway to poverty.
Maybe they took a cue from the federal government, because the presidency too, they have similar thing. I mean, such over bloated special assistants, special advisors, and the rest of it.
wherever it comes from, but nobody says that light cannot come from somewhere. The states owe the citizens and residents some responsibility. The truth is that, like I said, we all like ad hoc ways to success. They want to win elections, and elections become the beginning and the end. So in the end, you have people in power with that corresponding progress. But I think where we are now should wipe everybody into sense that because hunger is getting very high, the removal of fuel subsidy without petroleum is telling on all of us we are getting that.
Yes.
So it means that we must all wear our thinking cap. That thing can be easily substituted. Instead of having 13,000 social assistance that may not even work for you during election, why don't we raise the credit system, maybe through a microfinance bank or bank, and make the terms a little less, but a little scrupulous, so that if I give you money, you can work. And then you raise men that are active and that will be contributory to economic growth. So that way, it will make sense. Then take another look at our budget. Let me tell you the truth. The president and the governors don't know how budgets are prepared. That is the truth.
But Chief, before you go ahead in that direction, I mean, in talking about budget, let's look at the president making sure that reduce cost of governance, and we are talking about cutting cost of governance. The present cabinet of President Bola Tinubu has over 40 ministers. With that number, is he really serious in making sure that it reduces cost of governance? Because I understand that the Constitution, yes, permits that every state should produce a minister. And we have 36 states, plus FCT, maybe 37. So why are we having about 46 ministers, and we are talking about reducing cost of governance?
Yeah, I have mentioned that we should limit number of appointees and allow small groups to do the job. But again, this is Nigeria. I'm a politician, so we must be also real. There is need for political states. That is also an aberration. Also an aberration. I think that what we should work at is let's meet again. I have always said it for a national conference that will be acceptable to all. Part of the conference will be the We Need Nigeria, and we'll answer the question, okay, what is the pathway? That pathway will identify electricity, will identify water supply, will identify education, will identify road infrastructure, rail, and so on. And some of these problems will be, you will see clearly, the delineation trees, we know what to do, we know that state government will have capacity to do railway, maybe do electricity. These are the common things that we need. So our money will become, but now, a governor comes and he runs his own vision. It can be payment of salary as a knock-off and meaningless as that is. But we'll begin to clap, including you, all of us will be clapping. So I think there is need to sit down again and draw and ask ourselves what are the critical areas. And that will include the number of persons that should be in government at time.
Okay. Yeah, you were saying something about budgets and government. What exactly were you trying to say?
I'm saying I may use this opportunity. One of the areas I take away the funding. Because you have not asked yourself the question, why is it that every year we do budget? For instance, River State is 8 trillion. I've forgotten that of Abia, and then nationally, I think national 28 point something trillion, thereabout, or is it 27 point something trillion, whatever it is. But you ask yourself, why is it that we hear more money and less and see less development? Something is fundamentally wrong. I have advocated for a 4-year rolling plan like we used to have. Let's have key issues and then pursue them and conclude them within the tenure of an administration. So this one, the permanent secretary's budget office will sit down, write whatever they want to write. You saw what happened at the Senate just 3 days ago. To show me because of the experience of being a governor, taking on a day for money and saying the funds he put in some of the national roads is just a mimicry of reaction. And I agree. And that is because such crucial projects are left at the wings of one person. It shouldn't be. By now, we should be able to articulate national road arteries that are in existence, possible ones, drawing from experience, and then to say, Enugu to Port Harcourt will take so amount in this timeline to bring back to standard. Onitsha to Enugu may not be good, or to go to Onitsha. I'm giving the ones I know, or Why would you build East-West Road for over 30 years already? Why? I ask you why. So you sit down, when these things are clear, you put money, but it doesn't appear to be the case. So we keep mentioning them every year. Maybe you put 800 million. The 800 million in the end may not be spent, or would have been even overspent without touching the project. So it's an area of woodwork. And you see every legislator struggling. I think that is wrong. They said they are representatives. I had one argue. He said, if we can remove, we can also insert. It's not true. You make a mess of the central planning system. You are there to point out the areas and say, this is not good, this is not good. Then you dialogue and see. But when they begin in their impulsive reaction to say, let me put this one forward, let me put this one forward, let me put, they end up not doing anything. They end up, messing up the whole thing. And in the end, money will be spent in areas. They will go to sports. Recently, for an ill-prepared Super Eagles, these Super Eagles, no stamina, no passion, no creativity. We have released over, from what I hope I'm not mistaken. If you calculate the whole community that was released 3 days ago, it was over 20 billion. And then we may go out in first round and still spend more. So it is time we sit down and look at the entire budget, look at few things that should enter, and then make a 4-year rolling plan, and then see that within that 4 years, a government that is in existence carries through those core areas. When another one comes, it goes to another aspect of the national vision. But unfortunately, we don't have a vision for that, both for states and for the nation. So we run a blind alley. So there is wastage. There is wastage. There is wastage. So we don't know what the governor should take for domestic government houses as well.
Yeah.
I like what the government houses eating and drinking. It used to happen. I didn't say it begins now, but those are the aberrations.
Okay.
I remember when I was in office and
you experienced
I used to
that.
tell people off.
You experienced that? People come to government house when you were in power and they will be drinking and they're eating?
Of course, you entertain them, but I, from my perspective, I consider it an aberration. Coming to government house should be for serious business. No one should stay more than 30 minutes. Say what you want and then the governor or the chairman of the local government should be a busy person. The focus should be the people and the government, and not a place to chat. Even in my government office, if you want to discuss what I'm doing, things, you come and then we talk quickly and then you go, so you can free my mind to do other things. There should be time for pleasure. That is why you have social clubs and all that. It boils down to work ethics. It's also important. China did cultural renaissance, Japan did, even America. If me and you live down to America, we walk our ass to the ground, but here. So those things cost money and they cost wastages.
Yeah. Okay, Chief, though you've somehow touched how to move forward, but I would appreciate if finally you can just give us in a nutshell what should be the way forward. Let it cut across federal, state, and even the local government.
There is need. We are giving where we are and the needs in the land. There is need to sit, and then we discuss. I will tell you a very beautiful development during the unitide. In my place, the local government chairman, I don't know whether he receives funds, so I don't know. I've not been told what the state government is doing with the local government. But I was pleased that we gathered nearly all the stakeholders to say, apart from my vision, what do you think should be the roadmap? And everybody was applauded. I applauded. So that I just streamline things, but it doesn't mean you will achieve all of them during your tenure. So let's know what areas are very critical for the state, for the local government, for the nation. You there can't say whether it is petroleum now, whether it is electricity, whether it is humanitarian. You can't say. And yet we are spending money. Nations don't grow that way. So if it is roads, and we say I will map out the roads, then money should go that way. If it is out, you can say, okay, develop to state tourism. I heard that you develop to FMCs in the southeast, develop to where you can get anything. You don't need to go to India. You don't need to go to anywhere. The nation would have been helped. If it is productive engagement, so ask ourselves what needs to be done. Is it financing individuals or government to return to take the lead, or what? You decide. And not spending money sometimes. Okay, you say you privatize the electricity, you are still giving them money. They are holding on to transmission. So let's define this. A road or a journey not defined will always lead to wrong direction and wrong conclusion. That's my feeling. Let's be serious for a while. We define exactly what we want, both at the national and state. Why should national and states be working at cross purposes? What are they doing together? Is it on road? Is it on housing? Is it on development of the agricultural sector? Is it in terms of trying to say lifting of the industrial base? Every state government is stopping at roads. Some of them 1 kilometer road. Why? Because those are the easy place to inflate the budget and take away money. How many of them is doing agriculture? How many of them is doing health? How many of them is doing cottage industries? You can remove unemployment doing palm oil mills across the local government. How many of them is thinking down? So, it will continue the way we are continuing and they're running low on character. All men in Africa are extremely very hedonistic. They want cheap means to high pleasure. So, some of these things will come. So, we need character purification also.
Okay. All right. Let me sincerely thank
you. That's how I feel.
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Let me sincerely thank you, Chief Rafi, Public Affairs Analyst and former Secretary to Abia State Government. Thank you so much for speaking with us on the platform. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, it's time for us to open the phone line so you can be part of this discussion. The numbers to call are 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. You can also go to our Facebook page and drop your comments there. Hello? Okay, we lost that call there. 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. Hello?
Hello, Emeka.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I'm Emeka.
Okay, welcome, Emeka.
This particular, I just love the way this man analyzes some of this.
Speak up, Emeka, so I can hear you very well.
Okay, I said, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
I just like the way Rafi explained some of this. It was so clear. I don't understand it. The problem we have in this country is doing the wrong thing. Every time. Always doing the wrong thing. Or trying to do the right thing. It's always trying to do the wrong thing. You see, that's the thing he said about the whole country. Americans and others, where we run to. Or, one meeting or one conference or the other. The truth of the matter is that those people do not want us to develop. Because like there is a kind of racial, security playing out. Western world and Eastern world and other African nations who are like so dependent on the Western world and Eastern world. So they are the developed countries. So they have that mental capacity. Mental capacity. They believe in themselves so much that they always have a way of, trying to get development among themselves. They don't really depend on others. But I see Africa as a stooge. People who are, some of, let's say, submissive to a force. And our political leaders don't want us. So every time we see sending billions of naira running to America for one conference, business is 7, 8, and at the end of the day, we don't discuss. So let's say it over and over again.
Okay.
If these people have the power supply, and you do not have, it's their own good, because they will come seeking for one contract, and the contract will not be honored. At the end of the day, you will not be developed. So we have to see development within ourselves. We have to develop a system that will work. Our educated system to work. If you work with generate, capable hands that can be able to manage so many responsibilities, and we need to have honorable people as leaders, people who have proven cards, people who know that in the area they have they have done so well, and not somebody who have been, remarrying from one party to the other, from one political party to the other.
Thank you. Okay.
That's become the Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emeka, for calling us there. 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. Those are the numbers to get through to us. We are actually looking at that directive made by the President that the personnel, those people that will always accompany him to trips, both foreign and domestic trips, should reduce by 60%. Hello?
Good morning, Geneca, this is correspondent.
Thank you.
My name is Enoch Ibu, native of Okumu, calling you from Omaya.
Welcome.
Thank you. The president doesn't need to go to other countries to attract investors. What he needs to do is to increase security, ensure there is constant power supply, construct policy roads for easy movement in the country. And then when investors see that the country is an investment destination, they will come to invest. If the other government invest more on agriculture as suggested by RAP, it should also monitor the spending of the money given out to it. Not only the ministry, but also in other ministries, departments, and agencies. If that is not done, the money given out may be diverted into private pockets, as it is a custom in Nigeria. Every now and then we hear of financial misappropriation to the tune of hundreds of millions, billions, and even trillions. It is unacceptable and it can take us nowhere. That is the truth of the matter.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. 08081826949 or 08116052949. Now to our Facebook page. This one is coming from Tinubu'S. He said, good morning, Dr. Raf. It's a good thing to see President Tinubu giving directive that has to do with reduction of cost of governance. Such directive should be extended to other aspects of governance, not only traveling. A lot of funds are being wasted on unnecessary expenditures. Our economy has been grounded due to all these unnecessary expenditures and looting. Thank you so much, Tinubu'S. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Ginika.
Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, that is Mohammed Abbas from Government College.
Welcome, Mohammed.
Yeah, first of all, I love the way this man analyzed everything about the development of the country. Yeah, for this Mr. President decision, for me, if you want to bend a tree, you bend the tree when it's small. When the tree grows, you can't bend it. This is the beginning, you understand? We are almost exposed into the government, you understand? And through the action of Mr. President, suspending the Minister of Material Affairs and EFCC is investigating some here and there. This is a very nice one because I believe that Mr. President is going to do well and look into even that ministerial, that for the subject minister we have. Seriously, for me, I am not supporting that because it's too much. So therefore, we are praying for him to look into all those things. That decision is a very right decision. To make sure you can't carry more than 100 people to travel, or from here to Kano, from here to Lagos, more than thousands of people. No, it's unfair. That's a waste of money. But for what he did is very good. I'm supporting him. Let him look into the remaining ones. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. Prince Shaka MK said, I commend Tinubu for this, but let him do more for us. 08081826949 or 08116052949. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Ginika.
Good morning, welcome.
Yeah. My name is Victor Emmanuel Ndoboka. I'm calling from Ameki Bake.
Welcome.
Yeah. You talked about reducing the cost of governance.
Yes.
And I agree with you. It's quite a very interesting topic. And to do that, it means that we will have to go back to the Constitution. Lot of the problems that we have today stem from the Constitution. The presidential system is very expensive, and the cultural differences that exist in Nigeria. If we should go back to the Constitution, I will propose that we should have a one-tenure system that runs for 6 years for the 6 geopolitical zones, that will run for 24 years. And the multi-party system should be maintained. The cost of governance can be reduced even when the president is traveling abroad. 10 persons are okay for him because the receiving country where he is going, there is an ambassador there and other diplomats that can help him. Even within the states, I don't think, and we should try and make every effort to make investments Investment is very important because investment has multiplier effect. Sometimes they say that they are traveling to attract investors. They are wasting the resources that they already have, borrowing money here and there. Use what you have. We have our resources here. We have to develop it. We have material and human resources that we can develop, and people from anywhere in the world can come for it. And we should stop living ostentatious life. That is adding to the problem. How can you buy series of cars every year? You change cars for those who are coming in. Why not have a kind of maintenance culture? Nigeria is so expensive, and politicians know what they are doing.
Okay.
They are the people that are making Nigeria so poor, and everybody is suffering, including them.
Thank you.
That's my contribution.
Thank you so much, Victor, for calling us there. I think we just have to leave it at that. But we'll also advise government, especially government officials, to also sympathize with the situation, especially the ones the poor people are facing on the street. Nigerians are really suffering. The economy is biting so hard. So if there's every need for you to cut down cost of government, please do it. If you used to use 10 vehicles in your convoy, reduce it probably to 2 or 3, and everybody will be fine. I think we just have to leave it at that. Let me sincerely thank all of you who called in and who sent your comments on our Facebook page. Thank you so much. May God bless you. The platform returns on Friday at 10 a.m. here on Flow 94.9 FM. My name is Ginika Olwa. Till then, I'll see you again. Good morning.